is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, a deadly midnight quake tears through northern Afghanistan. Homes flattened, lives lost, and hundreds left injured as rescuers race against time to find survivors. Tensions flare in the Caribbean. Venezuela lashes out at Trinidad and Tobago for backing U.S. military operations as far as grips local fisherfolk caught in the crossfire. Mexico draws the line. President Claudia Sheinbaum rejects any U.S. military role in fighting drug cartels following the killing of a city mayor. Beijing pushes back. China rejects U.S. President Donald Trump's claims of secret nuclear tests, calling the accusations baseless. In Italy's capital, history turns to heartbreak. Part of a 13th century tower caves in during repairs, sending debris across the streets of Rome. In sports, a Filipino cue master dubbed the Silent Killer wins the Qatar 10-ball World Cup after a stunning comeback run. And in Hollywood, veteran actress Diane Ladd, a three-time Oscar nominee and mother to Laura Dern, has passed away at her home in Ohio, California. I'm Carlo Dela Peña. Newsline World starts now. At least 27 people were killed and more than 700 injured after a powerful earthquake struck northern Afghanistan on Sunday. The 6.3 magnitude quake left a trail of destruction across several provinces. In Samangan province, footage shows collapsed buildings, burnt-out cars, and residents sifting through debris, many still searching for missing family members. Survivors say the quake just hit past midnight, shaking homes and burying families under rubble. One man, Muhammad Farouk, lost his teenage son and says 5 families once lived in his now destroyed home.
یعنی مثل که دیگه کلا خانه دیگه از بین رفته که سیم 4 فامیل 5 فامیل که زندگی میکنیم هیچ کدومش قابل استفاده نیست اگر مثال میگم کلش برین یک سروه میکنین یا سعی میکنین فیلم برداری میکنین هر کاری که میکنین اونها برین یک سعی کنین.
Another survivor, Siddiq Khan, described scenes of panic as entire villages crumbled.
او 10 بود یا 1 و 15 بود دیگه همین ساعتا بود دیگه. یعنی یک قرص خورسه شد دیگه توی دیگه دمیجه خانه چند بود خاک باد شد دیگه قریب 180 190 خانه است دیگه این خانه را که میبینید بعضیش که این تو بیخی تو میده بعضیش بیخی هم تو جدا شده از یک دیگرش تیکه تیکه شده دیگه این اولی یک شهید داره یک طفلش هم ده هیچ کمیش حامله دار بود اون هم اینجا شهید شده هر دوش دیگه یک شهید و پیشتر است دیگه اینجا مردم دیگه بسیار مردم یک غریب مردم است بیچاره بسیار در بدریستن.
Rescue teams are clearing debris as families gather what little they can save. The quake's epicenter was about 28 kilometers deep, cutting power lines and affecting nearby provinces, including Balkh, Saripol, Baglan, and Kunduz. As aftershocks continue, authorities warn the death toll could still rise, with hundreds left homeless in Afghanistan's already fragile northern region. Authorities in Ecuador have declared an orange alert after increased activity was observed at the El Reventador volcano in the Amazon region, prompting emergency monitoring and preventive measures. Eve Buenafe files this report.
El Reventador volcano was seen releasing thick fumaroles over the slopes of Napo province as visitors watch from nearby viewpoints. The Geophysical Institute of the National Polytechnic School reported higher surface activity and warned of potential volcanic mud flows due to recent ash and pyroclastic deposits. Communities in the Chaco Canton and nearby drainage areas are under close observation as part of intensified safety protocols.
cuando ocurrió el AR que vemos nuevo, el volcán nunca lo había visto de esta manera, ¿entiende? Las fumarolas salían como vapor, o sea, como si estuviera tan lleno que lo necesitaba soltar. Entonces se miraba cómo salía la lava, cómo salía la fumarola como tal, la ceniza. Fue una cosa de locos. Creo que ha sido la experiencia con el volcán más impactante que he tenido.
The increased emissions and glowing rocks seen at night have surprised both tourists and scientists, who describe the behavior as unusual for the volcano. The volcano's last major eruption in 2002 affected areas as far as Quito, underscoring why officials continue to monitor El Reventador closely today. With the orange alert in place, Ecuador's emergency services remain on high readiness as the volcanic activity continues to evolve. Eve Buenafe, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
In Rome, part of the city's historic Torre del Conti collapsed Monday during renovation work, injuring 4 construction workers and trapping 1 under the rubble. A section of the medieval tower gave way, followed by a larger secondary collapse that sent dust and debris through the area. This scene captured the moment the ancient structure began to give way, sending dust over the nearby streets as passerby looked on in shock. Rescue crews rushed to the site and pulled 1 worker to safety. Another was taken to hospital in serious condition. The collapse occurred around 9:30 a.m. local time as a 13th century tower, once a residence for the family of Pope Innocent III, was undergoing structural repairs. The Torre dei Conti stands near the Roman Forum and is considered one of the most iconic medieval landmarks in the Italian capital. Tensions are rising in the Caribbean as Venezuela condemns a neighboring nation for supporting U.S. military activity in the region, warning that the move could destabilize long-standing relations and regional peace. Jane Cunita has the rest of the details.
Speaking at a press conference in Caracas, Venezuela's Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, denounced Trinidad and Tobago's support for the United States military deployment in the Caribbean. He said Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bisasar had allowed her country to be used as a front against Venezuela, breaking years of friendly relations between the two neighbors. Cabello warned that the move would have consequences, announcing that President Nicolas Maduro ordered an immediate review of all bilateral gas agreements. The Venezuelan official also criticized recent U.S.-led military drills near Venezuela's coast, calling them a provocation, and urged the Trinidadian government to focus on its domestic problems instead of meddling in Venezuela's affairs. Cabello's remarks come amid growing friction between the two nations after Trinidad and Tobago drastically reduced work permits for Venezuelans this year, down by more than 80% compared to 2024.
El gobierno de Trinidad, tristemente, para el pueblo de Trinidad y Tobago, han asumido una posición de ser un frente contra nuestro país. Frente. Históricamente, Trinidad y Tobago tiene con Venezuela buenas relaciones, extraordinarias relaciones. Mucha gente venezolana tiene comercio constante con Trinidad y Tobago, constantemente. Nosotros hemos sido agredidos por Trinidad y Tobago de mano y de voz de la señora que es primera ministra de Trinidad y Tobago, que no le ha importado el tiempo de buenas relaciones.
Meanwhile, anti-drug trafficking operations carried out by the United States in the Caribbean have heightened tensions and fear among local fisherfolk in northern Trinidad, who say their safety and livelihoods are at risk. Fisherfolk are being monitored by the U.S. warship USS Gravely, which docked in Trinidad last week as part of Washington's anti-drug operations. The presence of the destroyer follows an October 14 airstrike off Venezuela's coast that killed 6 people, including 2 Trinidadian fishermen. Families insist the men were civilians returning home, while the U.S. maintains they were linked to drug trafficking. Local resentment has grown after Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bisasar backed the U.S. operation, a move critics say could draw the island deeper into regional hostilities.
I feel terrified, very terrified. knowing that anything can happen, I think there's terrorists. Because without knowing that somebody do something wrong and just kill them, the only way to identify this terrorists.
Many fisherfolk have stopped going out to sea, fearing for their lives. Community leaders are now calling for urgent dialogue with Washington. To prevent further escalation in the Caribbean. As Venezuela warns of retaliation and Trinidad faces growing unrest at home, the Caribbean finds itself on edge, caught between U.S. operations and regional disputes, threatening to spill over its waters. This has been Jane Conita, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Indigenous communities living near the Panama Canal have voiced opposition to a series of mega projects in Rio Indio region, fearing displacement, environmental damage, and loss of sovereignty linked to foreign-backed developments. This story from Eva Montero.
The Rio Indio region, home to several indigenous communities, has become the center rising tensions over plans to build a major reservoir to support the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal Authority says the project is vital to secure water resources amid recurring droughts that have slowed canal operations. However, residents say the development threatens their homes, farmlands, and sacred spaces, accusing authorities of pushing the plan without proper consultation or resettlement guarantees. The Panama Canal Authority confirmed that about 40% of U.S. container traffic passes through the canal, with both the United States and China offering support for the new water infrastructure. That foreign involvement has raised alarm among locals, who say their rights and traditions are being overlooked in the race for control of strategic resources.
Gente que hemos vivido años en un lugar, aquí tranquilos, felices. Ahora por el antojo del gobierno y el antojo de la ACP, se le mete ese capricho. Yo no estoy de acuerdo.
The Panamanian government has yet to respond to the community's concerns, even as President Donald Trump has publicly called for greater U.S. influence over Canal, claiming it is now under Chinese sway.
Desde ya, con la amenaza de ese embalse, ya me siento triste. De no poder tener acceso a por lo menos darle el mantenimiento a la tumba de mis abuelos, que es lo que tengo aquí. Y sé que la mayoría son gente mucho mayores los que están aquí. Así que eso sería una afectación interna, que eso es difícil sobrevivir en cuanto a eso. Así que sí, me siento afectado por eso.
As the Rio Indio Reservoir plan advances, communities continue to fight for their land and identity amid Panama's strategic canal project. Reporting Eva Montero, SMNA News.
Mexico draws the line. President Claudia Sheinbaum rejects any U.S. military role in fighting drug cartels following the killing of a city mayor. Beijing pushes back. China rejects U.S. President Donald Trump's claims of secret nuclear tests, calling the accusations baseless. More news when Newsline World returns.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito, pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulung at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, sa kapalalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling, gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod, pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakakadepress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormone.
Washington support in the investigation into the assassination of Uruapan Mayor Carlos Manzo. The president emphasized that Mexico's security strategy is based on justice, not militarization, rejecting calls from opposition parties to seek foreign or armed solutions to drug-related violence.
México es un país libre y soberano. Como dijo Omar ayer, aceptamos la ayuda en información, en inteligencia, pero la intervención no. Entonces es la justicia, la única manera de construir paz y seguridad es la justicia.
As violence continues in Michoacan, the Sheinbaum administration insists that Mexico's sovereignty must remain intact, with peace and justice achieved on its own terms, not through foreign boots on the ground. Eric Carrillo, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
The world's largest energy conference is underway in Abu Dhabi, with thousands of industry leaders and innovators gathering to explore the future of smart and sustainable energy. The 2025 Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference, or ADIPEC, opened Monday at the Abu Dhabi National Exhibition Center, featuring more than 2,200 exhibitors from around the world under the theme Smart Energy for Accelerated Progress. Footage shows visitors touring pavilions showcasing new technologies in energy efficiency, decarbonization, and artificial intelligence.
So the challenges we're facing in 2025 are purely related to quality, schedule, and cost. It's a very competitive market, particularly in the Middle East. So you have to be able to offer something that your competitors are not offering. So, which in our case, thankfully, with Dolphin, we are able to be very, very price competitive.
Deputy President Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan officially inaugurated the 41st edition of the event, which runs until the 6th of November. This year's ADIPEC features 17 main halls and 4 specialized zones covering AI and digital transformation, decarbonization, maritime logistics, and low-carbon solutions. 30 national pavilions are also taking part, including emerging markets from Africa, Asia, and Latin America, all showcasing how technology is reshaping the global energy landscape. Organizers say this year's theme reflects a shared goal, accelerating the shift towards smarter, cleaner, and more efficient energy solutions for the future. For sports updates, a Filipino cue master has captured the world's attention after a stunning underdog run in Qatar. Meanwhile, in women's tennis, Elena Rybakina pulled off a stunning comeback win over world number 2 Iga Swiatek to reach the knockout stage in the WTA finals in Riyadh. Here's the news. 31-year-old Jonas Magpantay, known as the Silent Killer, pulled off a fairy tale finish at the 2025 Qatar 10-ball World Cup, defeating Poland's Szymon Kural 13-9 to take home the crown. The pride of Bansud Oriental Mindoro nearly missed the main draw after 4 losses in the qualifiers, but seized his chance when a slot opened up. From there, he went on a dominant run, eliminating top guns including world champion Carlo Biado, Hungary's Oliver Zolnoki, and Dutch veteran Niels Feyen, before clinching his first major international title. Magpantay, who earned a $100,000 prize, said he felt honored to compete, sharing that, "It's my first time here in Qatar and nobody knew me. I just wanted to play my game." Meanwhile, the 26-year-old Kazakh Elena Rybakina, seeded 6th, fought back after dropping the first set to overpower world number 2 Iga Swiatek 3-6, 6-1, 6-0, marking her first win over the Pole in 19 months. Rybakina, who secured her place at the year-end tournament just 2 weeks ago, ended a 4-match losing streak against Swiatek and stretched her winning run to 8 straight matches. In another match, American Amanda Anisimova mounted a comeback from a set and a breakdown to defeat compatriot Madison Keys 4-6, 6-3, 6-2, keeping her semifinal hopes alive while sending Rybakina through the next round. Rybakina said she was pleased with her composure, saying, "I stayed focused, gained confidence in the second set, and everything started to go my way."
Pasasaan pa ang kalayaan kung ang mga alipin ngayon ay sila din naman mang-aalipin bukas.
Ibigin mo ang iyong bayan ng sunod kay Bathala, sa iyong kapurihan at higit sa lahat sa iyong sarili.
Hindi natin mapapalaya ang ating mga sarili maliban kung sumunong tayo na nagkakaisa sa iisang hangarin.
Ang tunay na makabayan ay ang tumutupad ng pagpapabuti ng kanyang mga kapwa, gaano man kaaba ang kanyang katungkulan. Naway magsilbing paalala ang kanilang mga salita upang lalo nating mahalin at tapat na paglingkuran ang minamahal nating inang bayan.
Don't look back at old conflicts that make you bitter. The sign of a great mind is you forget the grudges done against you. Forget the past and get on with profitable living. time is running, and let us look at the present of what we can do and then hope God for the future of what God can do and the desires in our heart that God will be able to do for us.
Namibian President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah has relieved Deputy Minister and Minister of Industry, Mines and Energy Natangwe Itete of his duties and will personally take charge of the ministry, the presidency said in an official statement. The presidency said the move was made in accordance with Article 32, Paragraph 6 of the Constitution and is effective immediately. Namibia is expanding its plans in oil and gas and continues to develop uranium, diamond, and other mineral sectors as it moves toward possible crude oil production in the coming years, a backdrop that analysts say makes leadership of the ministry particularly sensitive. The presidency did not list a reason for Itete's removal in its public release. Local reporting has tied the dismissal to controversy over an expired oil block deal and diplomatic travel to Angola, though official channels have not confirmed those details. The statement confirmed Itete will remain a member of the parliament. Officials and observers say placing the ministry under the president signals tighter central oversight of contracts and foreign partnerships in a sector where Namibia aims to capture more value locally. The president has previously called for stronger oversight and transparency in the oil and gas sector. The sudden reshuffle has prompted questions from industry groups and oppositions, figures about the timetable for reviewing existing contracts and the mechanics of day-to-day oversight while the president directly manages the ministry. In a speech delivered on the 28th of October earlier this year, President Nandi-Ndaitwah said Namibia would reclaim economic sovereignty over its resources and pledged full reviews of contracts and stronger local participation in mining and energy projects. The presidency said the action reflects a commitment to sound governance, accountability, and the effective implementation of national priorities, and that further details on the inquiry and ministerial arrangements will be released in due course. Now, our showbiz news, Hollywood is mourning the loss of veteran actress Diane Ladd, a three-time Oscar nominee and beloved mother to Laura Dern. Ladd passed away at her home in Ojai, California. Stella Marie says more of this.
Diane Ladd's career spanned more than 6 decades, a journey defined by grace, grit, and unforgettable performances on both the big and small screen. Born Rose Diane Laddner in Laurel, Mississippi in 1935, she began acting in the 1950s, eventually finding fame in Martin Scorsese's Alice Doesn't Leave Her Anymore. Her role as Flo, a sharp-tongued but warm-hearted waitress, earned her an Academy Award nomination and established her as one of Hollywood's most versatile character actors. Ladd went on to earn 2 more Oscar nods for Wild at Heart in 1990 and Rambling Rose in 1991, a film she shared with her daughter, Laura Dern. Their historic dual nominations made them one of only a few mother-daughter pairs ever recognized in the same year. Beyond the spotlight, Ladd was admired for her wit, compassion, and commitment to her craft. She brought depth and authenticity to every role, from dramas to comedies, and from films to hit series like ER and Enlightened. Her ex-husband, actor Bruce Dern, paid tribute, calling her a tremendous actress and a wonderful mother. Diane Ladd leaves behind a legacy that continues to inspire, a true Hollywood original whose work will live on through the generations she touched. This is Stella Marie, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World. Egypt celebrated a monumental moment
in its modern history as the Grand Egyptian Museum finally opened its doors in Giza, marking a new era that bridges the nation's ancient splendor with its vibrant future. Let's hear the story from Anissa de Guzman.
A breathtaking light and fireworks display illuminated the Giza skyline on Saturday night as Egypt officially opened the long-awaited Grand Egyptian Museum, or GEM, a landmark that promises to redefine the country's cultural legacy. The celebration dazzled spectators as drones formed pharaonic symbols and ancient artifacts in the night sky, while projections of the iconic pyramids danced across the museum's vast facade. The grand spectacle marked the beginning of a new era for Egypt's heritage and tourism. The opening ceremony gathered 79 official delegations, including 39 world leaders and representatives from major cultural and international organizations, underscoring the global significance of the event. The Grand Egyptian Museum, decades in the making, stands as Egypt's most ambitious cultural project of the 21st century. Conceived in the 1990s and built under the guidance of UNESCO, the museum overlooks the majestic Giza pyramids, offering a panoramic connection between the ancient and the modern. With over 100,000 artifacts, including treasures of Tutankhamun, displayed together for the first time, GEM is poised to become one of the world's premier archaeological and cultural destinations, a glowing testament to Egypt's enduring legacy and its vision for the future. Reporting, Sarah Santos, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. Humility and sincerity are what counts in the character of a man. And as we keep track of the countdown, there's only 51 days left before Christmas. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Carlo Dela Peña. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.